Recording started.
Well, good morning, dear students, once again. And let's now finish the story. We were in the last part of the story, so we start from here. That was a stupid mummy. It was not, he said with rare emphasis, and believed that her expression that she realized he was defending his own mother to her or something as odd. So to Joe, the mummy was stupid because she didn't understand Roger Skunk's problem, and she also realized that her father was in fact trying to defend all mothers, especially her mother, that is his mother. Okay, now I want you to put your big heavy head in the pillow and have a good long nap. He adjusted the shade so as not even a crack of day showed, and tiptoed to the door in the pretense that she was already asleep. But when he turned, she was crouching on top of the covers and staring at him. Hey, get under the covers and fall fast asleep. Bobby's asleep. She stood up and bounced gingerly on the springs. Daddy, what? Tomorrow I want you to tell me the story that the wizard took the magic wand and hit the mummy. Her plump arms chopped forcefully right over the head. So this is how Joe wants the story to end, in which the mummy was hit by the wizard and not the wizard hit by the mummy. No, that's not the story. The point is that the little skunk loved his mummy more than he loved all the other little animals, and she knew what was right. This is the question. Elders always know better what's right, what's wrong. Children obviously are not as mature to understand this, and it was this that Jack was trying to convey to to his daughter, and obviously she was unable to comprehend this. No, tomorrow you say he hit the mummy. Uh, do it. She uh, kicked her legs up and sat down on the bed with a great heave and complaint of springs, and she had done as she had done hundreds of times before, except that this time she did not laugh. Say, Daddy. Well, we'll see now. We'll see. Now at least have a rest. Uh, Stay on the bed. You are a good girl. So Jack was feeling sorry for the daughter. In fact, Jack's point of view also is romantic. He too feels that everything must end happily, but then there was the problem that the story was not ending happily for uh, Joe, and so it came as a shock to her. So she felt sorry for the kid, but then she had to, I mean, he had to somehow convince her that mothers are right, that mothers can understand better what's right and wrong for the children. He closed the door and went downstairs. Claire had spread the newspaper and opened the paint can, and wearing an old shirt of his own on top of her maternity smock, was stroking the chair rails with a dipped brush. Chair rails are, the arms of the chair. Above him, footsteps vibrated, that is, echoed, and he called, "John, shall I come up and spank you?" The footsteps hesitated. That was a long story. Claire said, "The poor kid," he answered, and the utter weariness watched his wife labor. So he feels sorry for the kid. The woodwork, a cage of moldings, so the woodwork appeared to be a cage, and rails and baseboards. All around him was half old tan and half new ivory, and he felt caught in an ugly middle position. So he was caught in an ugly middle position. On one hand, he had to prove that mother was right, and on the other, he had to satisfy the child. He could not satisfy the child, so he was feeling sorry for the child. He says, "Poor kid," and though he, he as well felt his wife's presence in the cage with him, he did not want to speak with her, work with her, touch her, anything. That is, he herself was disillusioned. We will talk about it a bit more when we take up the question. Okay, so question number one. What is the moral issue that the story raises? It's quite obvious. The moral issue that the story raises is the fact that elders are right in comparison to the young ones. They know much better what is right, what is wrong for the children, whereas the children are not mature enough to think that way. So this is the moral question. How does Joe um, want the story to end, and why? Joe wants that at the end of the story, the wizard should hit Mummy, and she wants it because the mummy, you know, wants that the wizard should change the rose smell of the skunk and give him back his bad smell. You see, she realizes that if the skunk gets the bad smell again, the other little animals will not play with him, and he would be left alone. And moreover, her hero would be having a flaw. She identifies herself with Roger Skunk. Why does Jack insist that it was the wizard that was hit and not the mother? That's because Joe wants to say convince the daughter that mothers are right, and that they are better placed to take a right decision. uh, you know and obviously Joe could not understand the identity question or the other aspects, other pros and cons of um, the Roger Skunk's life. So you see, this way you can elaborate this answer. What makes Jack feel caught in an ugly middle position? Jack was caught in an ugly middle position. She didn't want to disappoint Joe on one hand, and on the other hand, she had he had to prove that mothers are always right. Unfortunately, he could not, please Joe. He disappointed her, and so you know he was caught in an ugly middle position. For the daughter, He was no more the ideal father, and he was trying to establish the superiority, or the superiority of the elders, or he was trying to establish the fact that elders are much more mature than um, the children, and that um, they are in a better position to take a decision. What is your stance regarding the um, two ending to the Roger Skunk story? Skunk's point of view. How would you like the story to end? Would you go with Jack, or would you go with Joe? So it depends. You can take any of the points of view, but you should be able to prove it. So I think it is safer to side with um, Jack, because Jack is right. Um, Joe does not understand it, and we very much hope that once she grows up, she would understand the truth of it, and she would agree with Jack, although at the moment she doesn't agree with Jack. So, anyway, you can take any point of view, you should be able to prove it. Then, question number 6: why is an adult's perspective on life different from that of a child's? Well, that's quite understandable, the adult perspective, adults are mature, they are uh, they are familiar with the realities of life. They have lived life, and they have undergone suffering. They have faced harsh realities, so they know what is right, what is wrong. Usually, the perspective of the children is rose colored. It is usually, they think in a fairy tale manner that all things, everything, end happily, although it doesn't really happen in life. They are not familiar with it because they are young enough, they're too young to understand it. They haven't faced harsh realities. So obviously, you know, the perspective of the adults is quite different from the perspective of the children. So you see, we have finished this story. Now we have finished our first session course. Um, mm, at least this is according to the previous pattern. Let's see how many lessons they include this time, or when exactly are they going to hold the sessions, and what mode. Most probably online mode. When the details come out, we would let you know. But in the meantime, keep preparing. If you have any questions and queries, please send your queries, and I'll try to sort those queries out. And then also, you know, please also subscribe to YouTube channel, Learn English with Akhlaq Ahmed. Most of you haven't done it. I'd request both 12th F and 12D. So you see, we'll be sharing the latest information with you. Um, in the meantime, please prepare Flamingo and Vistas and the writing skill, and get ready for the sessionals. As I said, we'll share the details as soon as we get them. Um, Now what I'll do is that I'll give you a breather of about 10 days or so, during which you can prepare and you know even ask questions if you have any, and then we'll see what we can do. Um, Most probably, when I recover now, let me recover. I'm rather unwell. It would take about a week or 10 days for me to recover. So when I recover, I'll meet you again, and then on the trot, we will finish the 3 poems from Flamingo which are in our course. And Then we will take up the two remaining lessons from Flamingo, and then lastly we would come to Vistas once again and complete the two lessons that are remaining. So we are left with two lessons from Flamingo and two from Vistas and 3 poems from Flamingo. So first we will finish 3 poems from Flamingo, two lessons from Flamingo, and lastly two lessons from Vistas. So let's see if we still have time, then we'll discuss other matters. The course, the deleted course that you have sent me, um, it's not clear whether we still have the novel in our course or not. If you have any idea, please share it with me. Is the novel still there or not? I too will confirm from my colleagues, and then we'll review the situation and act accordingly. So for the time being, you know, um, take good care of you and keep working hard. Good luck to all of you. Thank you very much.
Back button. Stop button.